Aloha! Welcome to TMDR, the Maui Daily Report for Friday, February 14th, 2025. I'm Patty Lee, and these are some of the stories that may interest you today. Today is Valentine's Day, and love is in the air. Well, it's supposed to be. I'm not quite sure these days. A case in point is that the Indo-Pacific commander said today that the Chinese have sent multiple spy balloons, naval vessels, and military planes around Taiwan as rehearsals for the forced unification of Taiwan to mainland China. Not only that, Chinese ships are making their presence known in the Philippines. Trump has turned the government upside down, and mere anarchy has been loosed upon the world. Or so it seems. If you register to walk or run in this year's Maui 5K, you'll get free admission to the Maui Ocean Center after the race. The Maui Ocean Center is the sponsor of the race, so why not? Run first, then go get to see the fish. The race takes place on Sunday, March 2nd from 7 to 9 a.m. March 1st is right around the corner, and that is the day survivors of the Maui wildfires enrolled in the FEMA Direct Housing Program have to pony up the rent. The amount is based on what the feds say is fair market adjusted to each household's ability to pay. If a survivor feels the rent is unaffordable, they have the right to appeal. No one is eating the dogs or eating the cats on Maui. On the contrary, there's an overpopulation of animals stressing the capacity of the Maui Humane Society. There is a bill in the ledge that can come to the rescue. It would prohibit landlords from using rental agreements to forbid pets in tenants' homes. Most public testimony was in support of the bill. Maui United Way is looking for a nonprofit to provide critical mental health support for children and adolescents affected by the Maui wildfires. Eligible organizations must be 501c3 nonprofits or have a fiscal sponsor with demonstrated experience with mental health services for youth. Proposals are due February 28th at 5 p.m. Wendy Hensel, the new president of the University of Hawaii, went to Lanai earlier this week to visit the fiefdom of Larry Ellison, the tech bro who happens to be the 5th richest person in the world. She didn't meet with him, but did visit the UH Maui College Lanai Education Center and toured the Lanai High and elementary schools. This is Hensel's first visit on a statewide tour of 10 UH campuses and 6 educational centers in her first 90 days. We are in the peak of whale season on Maui, and there are few things on earth more stunning than an encounter with a humpback whale. But there is a kayaker in South America that got more than he bargained for. A humpback whale off the Chile coast swallowed him whole and spit him out again, and he lived to tell the tale. No, his name is not Jonah, but his dad even shot a video. At least we know that humpbacks don't like the taste of Chile. Rather, a resident of Chile.
Hey! Ya, vente, vente! Agárrate de la cuerdita. Agárrate de mi cuerdita.
Pensé que me había tragado.
Tranquilo, agárrate de mi cuerdita. Agárrate de mi cuerdita de atrás, no me tumbes, no me tumbes. Eso, tranquilo, tranquilo. Tranquilo, tranquilo. Vamos, vamos.
Today is Valentine's Day, the day we profess our everlasting love for that special someone. Not many of us, however, know the origin of the custom. So let's get to the heart of the matter, shall we? Take a look.
Love is a many splendid thing, and today is a pretty big day for lovers and the love industry. There's Venus and Adonis, and there's the goddess Psyche with her pal Cupid. She's robbing the cradle. It's Valentine's Day, and it all started with this guy, Saint Valentine, in the year 270. He was a Christian priest who was marrying lovers against the rules of the Roman Empire. They told him not to do it, but he did it anyway. So on February 14th, they chopped his head off and he became a Christian martyr. As the story goes, when he was in jail, he wrote a letter to the jailer's daughter and signed it, "From your Valentine." And that's how the whole rigmarole got started. The obligatory Valentine's Day card, the Belgian chocolate roses, the flowers, the heart-shaped box of chocolates with the puppy dogs on the cover. I don't really like that one. I'll put it back. But love has always made the world go round. Like the goddess Aphrodite, who's also known as Venus, she's been around for thousands of years. Look, she had her hand stuck in the cookie jar. And this is everybody's favorite, The Birth of Venus by Botticelli. What a babe. I know, love is meant to make us glad, but not if this guy's around. You gotta watch out for him. Cupid, with love's arrow, makes people do crazy things. This guy, Narcissus, fell in love with his own reflection. And look, this girl in Central Park, New York, making out with a grizzly bear. I think they're in relationship counseling now. And Cupid didn't shoot very straight with these guys either. The arrow hit the monster, but sure didn't get the bride. So make sure you get your loved one some chocolates, maybe make a homemade Valentine, or buy one of these stupid toys. And whether you get a Valentine or not this year, you're amazing just the way you are.
President's Day is on Monday, February 17th, and TMDR is taking the day off. In the meantime, let's take a visit to Washington, D.C. to honor some of our greatest chief executives. Then we take a closer look at some of the men who would be king if they could, but did not because democracy is not supposed to allow them to do that. These days, the jury is still out on that one.
Every year, 8 million people flock to our nation's capital, to the National Mall, to visit the great monuments, the reflecting pool, and the Washington Monument at 555 feet, the tallest obelisk in the world. The World War II Memorial, dedicated to the men and women of the greatest generation who lost their lives fighting for their country. And perhaps the most beloved monument of all, the Lincoln Memorial. On this edition of Maui Travels, intrepid producer Dan O'Brien takes us on a monumental history lesson about two of our favorite presidents, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Let's start with Washington. People love this guy. Speaking of monuments, there are statues of him all over America, like this one in Boston, or this one in Union Square in New York, or this one in Chicago hanging around with a couple of his buddies. And even though you see him every day, he never smiles. He had bad teeth and lifelong dental pain. And his teeth weren't made of wood, they were made out of hippopotamus ivory, teeth extracted from slaves, silver and gold. Maybe that's why the Washington Monument resembles a giant toothpick. They started building the thing in 1848, but then the Civil War happened, and it didn't get finished and open to the public until 40 years later. It was built to classic Egyptian proportions, in part by slave labor, and the original architect called it a stick of asparagus. Why? Because he wanted to build these Greek pillars, this colonnade around the thing, but they ran out of money. To this day, it is the tallest stone structure in the world. As for Honest Abe, it's a good thing he didn't live to see the Steven Spielberg movie Lincoln. It was stinking. But people show up in droves to see the great emancipator anyway. But you don't have to go to Washington to see him. Just reach in your pocket and pull out a penny. If you look close, you can see Lincolns on both sides, heads and tails. Look at him sitting there in between the columns. And it was from these steps on August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King gave his magnificent I Have a Dream speech. If old Abe was listening, he probably would have been proud. Well, that's it from Washington. See you next time on Maui Travels. Here you got George Washington, the father of the country, could not tell a lie, chopped down a cherry tree, all that sort of thing. A lot of people say he was the best ever, even if he did have wooden teeth. Then you got these guys, John Quincy Adams, he was the 6th president. His daddy, Sam Adams, the one with the beer, was the 2nd president. And on the right, there's Andrew Jackson. He looks more familiar because he's on the $20 bill. Now they gave him a makeover, they cleaned up his act, combed his hair. And here's everybody's favorite, Honest Abe. He freed the slaves, although you wouldn't know it if you check out the minimum wage these days. And here's Grover Cleveland. Not a bad guy. He tried to give Hawaii back after American businessmen stole it, but then he was succeeded by William McKinley, who was more than happy to take over the Hawaiian Islands before the French, or the Russians, or the Japanese. And here's Theodore Roosevelt. They named the teddy bear after him. Speak softly, but carry a big stick, he said. And here's Franklin Roosevelt, the only 3-term president. I hate war. Eleanor hates war. I hate Eleanor. Next we have Benjamin Franklin. He wasn't president, but he was smart, and he flew a kite with a key in a jar and discovered some stuff about electricity and invented the post office and the potbelly stove and a bunch of stuff. A lot of people like to collect pictures of him on green paper, $100 bills. And there he is, the first American idol, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. The general sitting next to him with a cigar, that's Curtis LeMay. He dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. Not a nice guy. He would have dropped a lot more if we let him. And who can forget Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer from Georgia. And here's good old Hawaii Senator Dan. Never got to be president, but he coulda, he shoulda, and he woulda been a good one. Up next, Ronnie Reagan from Death Valley days. Here he is taxing Social Security. Then there's George Bush the First and his son, who got us in a bunch of wars in the Middle East. Yeah, thanks a lot. And then there's Mr. Insurrection himself, but I keep mixing him up with this guy, Bozo the Clown. I talked to him once and he said, there are a lot of fake bozos out there, he said, but I'm the real bozo. There's no other bozo but me, he said.
Last but not least, it's time now for our Molokai Sports Report, followed by the Aloha Friday photo finish. Enjoy.
Aloha, sports fans, wherever you may be. My name is Rick Shanley. We're at the studios of Akaku in downtown Kaunakakai, Molokai, and this is the Molokai Sports Report, brought to you by Friendly Market Center, where they serve aloha daily. Molokai girls basketball went down to the big city for the state championships the other week. They lost 2 games over there, but they got some great experience. And we want to say congratulations to Kale Pfeiffer and his staff and his girls, making Farmer Nation proud. The Lady Farmers played great against Hawaii Baptist Academy. They lost 55-38, and they got to play Pahoa in the consolation bracket on the next day. Pahoa beat Molokai 49-35. Molokai finishes its season 10-6 overall and 10-3 in the MIL D2 League play. Congratulations to head coach Kale Pfeiffer. We are so proud of your team. Farmer Nation is looking forward to the bright future for Molokai girls basketball. On to spring sports. Lady Farmers. Molokai Wrestling, the train keeps on rolling as they head over to Maui at King Kekaulike High School this Saturday for the MIL Championships. Boy, the Farmers are looking good under head coach Randy Manley and his staff, and I'm sure that many of them will advance to the state championships next week on Oahu. So good luck, Molokai Wrestling, as you guys travel to Maui and take care of business up at King Kekaulike High School. The big news from the barn is Molokai boys basketball. They came second place in the MIL to Seabury Hall, who is the cream of the crop of Division II this year. But guess what? We have a play-in game for the state championships on Oahu here at the barn Saturday, 1 p.m. against Les Jardins High School. It's a play-in game at 1 p.m. General admission tickets are available at gofan.co. Be sure to get your tickets. It's one price for all. General admission, $9. We will see you there. The Molokai Sports Report and Akaku Molokai will be on location. The concession will be open. It's a whiteout. In other words, we want everyone to wear white to support the Farmers against Les Jardins. So we will see you at the barn on Saturday at 1 p.m. The 2025 HHSAA Boys Basketball State Championships for Division II will be Wednesday through Friday, February 19th through the 21st at Kaimuki and Kalani High School and the Stan Sheriff Center. So Molokai can get to the state championship if they beat Les Jardins from the ILH. Les Jardins is the number 2 team for the ILH Division II. Damien is the number 1 team, and they are already seeded as the number 1 seed for Division II ILH. Molokai is the number 2 seed for MIL Division II. And these 2 teams get to play off for the last remaining spot in the state championships. So come on out to the barn. It's a whiteout. Everybody wear white and come and support our farmers under head coach Calais Parker and her staff. Good luck, boys. We will see you there. My name is Rick Shonley. This is the Molokai Sports Report, brought to you by Friendly Market Center. Happy Valentine's Day. Aloha no. Kako.
Well, that's it for today's Maui Daily Report. Mahalo for joining us, and please keep watching Akaku channels 53, 54, and 55. You can watch Akaku at akaku.org or on your phone 24/7 with our app, Maui Stream. This is how we stay connected. I'm Patty Lee. Happy Valentine's Day and have a great weekend. Aloha.